Hello and welcome to the Daily Mill for Monday, the 2nd of January 2023. In today's Millwall news, we're going to start off with the 4 takeaways piece from South London Press, londonnewsonline.co.uk. Millwall kicked off 2023 with a 3-0 victory over Rotherham United yesterday. Here are Richard Corley's takeaways from the match. The Lions look there for the long haul. Millwall are fourth in the table, at least until today's matches are completed, and they look like a side who are in the chase for the playoffs for the long haul. Unlike in previous campaigns, they don't need that strong surge in the second half of the season to make up ground on the top six. They already have 39 points on the ball, 6 more than they had after 25 matches back in January 2022. They can make a couple of additions in the transfer window, as well as holding on to star performers like Simon Fleming and Billy Mitchell. Then they look extremely well set. Garrett told our paper last week they expected to have an empty injury room very soon. Another promising sight was seeing Ryan Leonard doing some training drills and a warm down on the Den pitch after the win over Rotherham United. Yes, might be a bit early, but Sheffield United game, obviously Ryan Leonard, he had a move to Sheffield United which didn't really bring out the best of him, I don't think. So maybe he's interested in getting back to that game. But if he's just starting training now, I mean, he's lucky to make the bench, I think. Rout's changes pay off. The Mill boss made 3 switches from the side that drew 0-0 Bristol City. Last time out, with Callum Styles coming into central midfield in place of George Saville and George Honeyman replacing Tyler Berry. The other move was enforced. Goalkeeper George Long missed out for what the club called family reasons. Bart Biakowski returning. Honeyman putting the best performance in the Millwall matches that I've attended this season. His energy and running caused problems all afternoon for the Millers, and he was fouled on the edge of the box a couple of times, including for the early free kick which Tom Bradshaw headed past Victor Johansson. Saville and Billy Mitchell have been an excellent relation in the Lions midfield, but Styles seamlessly came into the side and also delivered the goods. A bit like Zion Fleming, the Barnsley loanee is happy to let loose with shots if he gets a sight of the goal, and Bradshaw should have added to his haul with a great chance in the first half. Johansson parried Styles' initial strike, and his second attempt turned into a close range opportunity which Lions number 9 touched over the bar. Styles also provided the 4th minute free kick which Bradshaw adeptly headed home. Biakowski had a relatively easy shift, finding one effort on target, something his overworked opposite number could not say. The greatest danger to him keeping a clean sheet came just before the interval, but Connor Washington fired over after initially gliding past Biakowski. Ultrasten. Since the start of last season, the Lions are averaging exactly 2 points per game at home. Their record from 36 matches over that period is 121, drawn 9 and lost 6, scoring 52, conceding only 24. They have the best home defensive record in the championship this season, conceding just 8 times, 2 fewer than the closest rival, Coventry. Millwall have kept 3 shutouts on the bounce. In saying that, a win in SC16 was overdue. The Lions have not won at the Den since October 22. A time span that sounds more dramatic because of the domestic break coincided with the start of the World Cup in Qatar. Home fixtures against Hull, Wigan and Bristol City had all been drawn. It was important that Millwall ended their wait for the maximum ball there. The Lions were totally dominant against Rotherham and had 27 efforts, 11 on target, along with an 11-to-1 corner ratio. If this had been a boxing match, then the referee would have stepped in long before the end. It was a one-side battering. Yes, so some interesting things there in that piece. 4 takeaways from the South London Press. Moving on to this from Southern News. We've got more post-match comments about yesterday's game. So relentless championship season keeps Millwall manager focused on the present. The Lions have lost just 2 of their last 14 games in the league. Gary Rowett praised Millwall for their impressive form in the Championship, but admitted they still isn't looking at the league table with just under half of the season left to play. The Lions moved back into the bad places, up to fourth with their 3-0 home win to Rotherham, although they could drop down the table depending on how Watford moves Norwich City there in their games this afternoon, with the Canaries and the Hornets squaring off at Carrow Road. Indeed, more on that later. So regardless of what happens elsewhere in the division today, Rowett's men have done incredibly well so far this season as they look to finally secure place in the top 6 and challenge for promotion to the Premier League. Picking up consistent results is obviously a big part of that, and Rowett is purely focused on taking each game as it comes instead of getting too far ahead of himself. Our own form this season has been fantastic, he said after Mill's win on New Year's Day. We've had a couple of little blips recently, but our blips are draws. We didn't feel we did quite enough to win, but again, we're not getting beaten here. I don't think there's much in the performances. Today we were a little more clinical. We could have been a lot more clinical, and it's been a good week. I spoke about it. It's about being fairly calm as a team and as a club in these situations. We could all we beat Watford, fantastic, and then we all get that little bit edgy because we don't then win our next game. But that's the Championship. Teams don't just come and roll over. Bristol City are a good side. Rotherham beat Sheffield United away from home about 5 games ago. Every team is capable of taking points, and you've got to do it right. You take 7 points in a week to have 3 clean sheets to score goals. I think it's a testament to the character of the players. We're working hard. We're in a position where we want to continue, get more out of the players, to continue to find these sorts of performances, and to continue and try and add to the group in January. He keeps saying that. He keeps saying to add some talent in January, add a quality in January. Does he know something we don't know? It's been a good week, but the Championship's a funny old beast. You can have a good week and then a not so good week, so you've got to keep working hard, get your head down and plough on, really. So there's Gary Rowett there, again mentioning signing someone in January. Well, it is January now. How long do we have to wait? We've got until the 31st. Interesting. Very interesting. So let's hear from the other side of the fence now. The Rotherham boss. Rotherham boss Taylor and then defeated former Charlton strikers Big Chance in the first half at Millwall. Rotherham United manager Matt Taylor was left there moaning his side start yesterday's 3-0 loss at Millwall. The Lions took an early lead. We know all about this. Blah 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 blah. It was a poor start to the game, said former Charlton centre-back Taylor. In a position we're in at the moment, we've got to give ourselves a bit of a chance for longer to hold on to something. It was a free kick mid-third, ball into our box in the first 5 minutes of the game, and their play got there first. That was a pattern which started the game. They were bright and sharp to the ball. They won a lot more second balls. We actually got better as the first half went on and had a really good chance. That doesn't go in, and then the second half materialises after another bright start to make it a disappointing end to the game. We ended up being a toothless team, but that's also because we haven't got many attacking players on that pitch. The transfer window is open today. We've got to make sure the new signings make us better, a bit of experience, a bit of body-hardened bodies and minds is what we need. We've also got an injury list where they're not going to be. We've got an injury list where they are not going to be forever. They will come back and affect it at some stage. In terms of where we are team-wise and squad-wise, hopefully this is the weakest we will be. So lucky we got a bit of luck playing them right now, don't they? We need to improve the squad, but we also need to improve our game and understanding the game execution. Then they'll get the confidence off the back of that. The defeat would have been heavier but for the heroics of Johansson. Oh, he's been our best player throughout the season, said Taylor. He's been our consistent performer. Where we'll be without Victor is a different question. We've always said if your goalkeeper is your best player consistent, it shows the weaknesses elsewhere in the team. We can't hide away from that fact. He has been outstanding, and he was again today. Former Addict striker Connor Washington had a chance to level shortly before half-time. Northern Ireland international went past Bart Biakovsky but lashed over, going for power with Jay Cooper attempting to guard the net. Taylor said, "It's an open goal. Can I blame Connor? No, he's trying his hardest. He's had to go high because there's a defender on the line. Poor execution in that moment, but he got in for that chance. That might have given us a bit more belief. We started the second half quite brightly, but the second goal is where we are at this moment. Probably a bit of a cheap giveaway from us in attacking sense. One long ball into our back line, the header into the middle of the pitch, and no disrespect to the lad Fleming. He's kicked it in the air, he's managed to control the ball, and a deflection which happens in the situation we're in at the moment. You have to be better in those moments. Yes, you certainly do. Rotherham United not very good at the moment, and with their massive injury list, very lucky that we played them right now. So moving on to this, going back to Garrow and his post-match comments, he's talking about Tom Bradshaw because obviously every little thing that he does is questioned. I mean, so Gary has explained why he did not leave Tom Bradshaw on the pitch for the closing stages of yesterday's 3-0 win over Rotherham United, despite the Millwall striker needing just one more goal for his second hat-trick of the campaign. The forward bagged a treble in a 3-0 win over Watford on October the 19th, and that had been the last time that Bradshaw had scored for the Lions before New Year's Day. He headed in Callum Styles' free kick and also converted from close range after Rotherham keeper Victor Johansson could only parry Andres Fulkersammer's strike. It was also Bradshaw's shot which deflected off United defender Cameron Humphreys, Mill's second goal of the afternoon. He could easily have had a trouble putting an effort over the bar from close range in the first period, as well as flicking off Fulkersammer across wide at the near post. Asked if he was tempted to keep Bradshaw on so he could try and land another match ball, Rowett told the South London Press, no, because with Bennett being out injured, it means Bradders has had to plough on up there. He does so much work for the team, he's tireless, and he does so much distance, he closes people down all game. It was in our mind that he might need a little breather tonight. He might need a little breather next week against Sheffield United in the FA Cup. I'm sure he won't want one. You've got to look after players who are effective. We always speak about it. We've got to keep our players fit. There's a fine line between playing them, keeping them going, building that resilience, and actually getting them off at the right time. Give them 10 minutes breather so they don't get injured. It was the same with Zion. There was an opportunity. A few of our players off who didn't need to expend themselves really. Nice to see the lads coming on. Young Romain comes on and has another performance. He thought it was the World Cup final at one point. He was dropping in to try and get the ball, doing little tricks and all sorts. But it shows that young lad who just wants to play and show everyone what he's got. It was a good evening, but I feel for Rotherham a little bit. It's a really difficult position they're in at the moment. I'm sure they'll be looking forward to the January window coming and bringing a few players in. Poor Rotherham there from Garrett. So, the day after the match, this channel does a statistical dive into the game. This is from info.goal.net. The XG, if you look in the middle above the red FT, was 3.7 to Millwall and 0.42 to Rotherham. So, what did he say? He said we have like 27 shots and 11 on target. But those chances, the quality of them, was only enough to get us around 3.7 goal. So we got 3, so we slightly underperformed, but fair enough. So even though we did have so many shots, they don't seem to have any quality per se. If we go to the shot map, and here is Mill shots. That's a lot of shots. That is a lot of shots. Fantastic. It's so good to see, isn't it? Especially in contrast to the Bristol City game. This is joyous. This is joyous. So, obviously, our best chance was scored. That was Bradshaw. The one at the end where he Vogelsammer's shot that the keeper saved. He came up on it and tapped into the net. So that was the best chance that we had. The second best chance that we had was again Bradshaw on the 25th minute, and that didn't go in. And then the fourth and fifth was Vogelsammer 78 and Tom Bradshaw 58. So there you go. Now moving on and having a look at Rotherham. So not too good. So obviously this big one is the one that got put over the bar by Washington, which is interesting if you look back at that and look at the highlights and see how that led to come about. So Billy Mitchell's tracking the guy back on the ball, and he's fanning about. Sean Hutchinson thinks, well, I'm not going to wait, and he rushes forward to go and tackle the guy, which Billy Mitchell wasn't doing. And then that allows the guy to just play the ball in behind to the gap where Sean Hutchinson was. When you watch it back and you look at it, you're looking at it, you're like, oh, okay, yeah, I see. So we got very lucky with that. We got very, very lucky. We could have went in at half time at 1-1, which would have put a different spin on it, I'm sure. But all's well that ends well. So there you go. So let's have a look. First half, second half. First half, there we go. Second half, there you go. Even better. Even better. A lot better chances. Getting inside that 6-yard box. That's what you want to see. Fantastic stuff. So was that a fair result? The fairness rating out of 100, 98.09. Yes, that should have been a Millwall win. It was. So there you go. So moving on to whoscored.com, and if you look on the right hand side, you can see the man of the match in terms of ratings. Tom Bradshaw, next Murray Wallace, then Callum Styles, and then George Honeyman. All players who've been pretty decent recently. You see the players who've had all the shots. Tom Bradshaw, Zion Fleming, Andres Vogelsammer, and Callum Styles. And in terms of tackles, this is quite interesting. So obviously, George Saville came on as his substitute, and he had 3 tackles in that match. So he's had 20 minutes on the pitch, and he's had the most tackles for Millwall. That's pretty impressive. So moving back to the left-hand side, Millwall's strengths created a high number of chances relative to their possession, were effective at creating goal-scoring opportunities from long-shot situations, and from the flanks, and from counter-attacks, and from set pieces, and was strong at finishing, but were caught offside off. Attack through the middle, had a high shot frequency when in possession, and dominated possession, and favoured crossing the ball. Yes. So here you go. It's actually 28, not 27, 28. So Millwall had 28 attempts on goal. Rotherham had 5. 10-4 open play, 14-1 set piece, 3-0 counter attack, and 1 was an own goal. So you got 28 shots, you got 3 goals. That is a conversion rate of 10, which is okay. It's pretty good. So you can see here Rotherham mostly going down the right hand side, and so will we basically, but not by as much as them. Shot directions. There you go. Shot zones. Indeed. Action zones. And player positions. So there you go. So interesting there that it seems like we just saw that Rotherham were attacking down the right. You can see there number 2, his average position is further up the pitch. Basically on the number 30, as it seems they're attacking down that side. Millwall's formation. Interesting stuff. What is that? Is that What is that? Is that 4-1-1-3-1? Don't know. Is it 4-1-4-1? Interesting stuff there. Very interesting stuff. Okay. And you can see Mill's centre backs average position way further up the pitch compared to Rotherham's. They had to play up deeper. So moving on through whoscored.com. Here are the match events. Goal very early on, 4 minutes. Flat to deceive you. You figured it was going to be a steamrolling operation, which it was, but the goals didn't. The next goal didn't come until 66th minute, and then later on, 81st minute, the third one comes. And it's then that I'm sure he had them already warming up. It's then that he's brought on, literally changed out the entire attacking selection for Millwall. So interesting. So if we go down and look, if you look at the top left and top right by the club badges, you can see the average player rating for Millwall is 7.13, and for Rotherham it's 6.29, nearly a whole points difference. Was that like about 0.9 of a difference? That is a quite large difference in this league. So here we go. We have 2 goals for Bradshaw, man of the match, star man. We have assist for Callum Styles, and Murray Wallace again getting a high score. 2 games in a row. Obviously, figured a few things out, sorted himself out, and he is delivering the goods. Very nice. So, if we start scrolling through some of the things that happened and how they went along. So, total shots 27-5, as we've just seen. So, who had the shots? So, only two players had shots for Rotherham. For Millwall, it's basically everyone except for Mitchell, McNamara, and Biakovsky. 4 for Vogelsammer. Obviously, 1 was led to that led to the 3rd goal. 5 for Fleming, 6 for Bradshaw. Interesting stuff there. Possession-wise, totally dominant. This is unheard of for Millwall. 62% possession. Absolutely unheard of for us. We're normally way lower than that. We're normally always lower than the opposition, but not now. We were way and above them. Roughly 61-38. So interesting stuff there. And if you look at the pitch, the average, those numbers there are the time of the game in terms of percentage that each player had possession of the ball, and it's quite high for Cooper. And McNamara. Moving on to pass success percentage, 71-52, so that's quite low for Millwall, I believe. Normally higher than that, not by much, but marginally is higher than that. Biakovsky 50, that's good for him. When he was starting, his passing success was down in the 30s, sometimes even in the 20%. So Callum Styles 92, so outshining Billy Mitchell. Billy Mitchell down to 79. So interesting to see how many passes that was on for Callum Styles, because he got took off. I think he was the first one off, wasn't he? On 71 minutes, George Saville, I believe. So dribbles 6-5, aerials 1. Wow, that was a very aerial game, wasn't it? 39-24. Quite insane. So everyone won an aerial for Millwall, except for Biakovsky and McNamara. And everyone won an aerial for Rotherham, except for the goalkeeper, Washington, And what's that say there? Kyoso. Kyoso. Jake Cooper there with the aerial prowess. 11 aerials won. And then Hutch and Murray Wallace with 9 each. Fantastic stuff. So tackles, we lost the tackles. It was 11-16, which kind of makes sense because we did more attacking than they did, so they had to tackle to stop us. So you can see everyone had a tackle for them except for Washington, Harding, and Johansson. Like I just said, George Saville coming off the bench and having 3 tackles, which is the most of any Millwall player, which is pretty interesting. Corners 10-1, dispossessed 10-7. That's having a ball taken off of you. So there you go. Let's move on now to finish with this and look at a few things here. So the player ratings from Millwall, 8.57 from Bradshaw, 8.16 from Murray Wallace. Fantastic stuff. Callum Styles, 7.9. So we've got what we've got there. We've got Styles, Honeyman, Jay Cooper, Fleming, Hutch, Billy Mitchell, and Andres Vogelsammer all on 7s. So of the starting players, only McNamara and Bartosz Biakowski were under 7, 6.7, 6.66. And you've got all of the substitutes at the bottom of the pack, which is kind of how it should be. Well, I don't know if it should be like that, but it's to be expected. Because a player that comes on doesn't have as much time as a player that he's replaced. There's a thing in baseball, statistical analysis called wins against replacement. Basically, if you're the first baseman and someone comes in for you for a game or a string of games, what is the comparative difference there? Are you better or worse than the player you've replaced? So you can see here, these players who've coming on to replace the players going off, are they as good or better? Well, no, not really, from the pack. Although we have seen George Saville with 3 tackles. Romain Esse there with that pass accuracy 83.3, and he's had 9 touches of the ball. Interesting stuff there. Good for him. Most touches of the ball, 77 from Murray Wallace, 71 from Danny McNamara. Fantastic stuff there. So shots and shots on target. So we've seen we had a lot of shots. Everyone had a shot except for McNamara, Mitchell, Kowski. So what was it? 28. Yeah, 28. This all adds up to how many on target? 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. 11 on target. So Garrett was right about that. So let's have a look at that. So George Honeyman 2-2, Bradshaw 6-3. So he's had 3 shots on target and he's got 2 goals. That's pretty outstanding. Although, and obviously he had a shot off target which was going wide that hit the defender and went in. So that was another goal. So he effectively had a pseudo hat trick, not a real hat trick, but it was basically him doing it. Indeed. Let's just roll through this. I'm sure you're all probably bored out of tits now if you're still watching. But let's crack on. So offensively, so they were talking about being offside a lot. Is 4? 4 is it being offside a lot? Oh, Vogelsammer was offside a lot. Oh, what happened? What happened there? Was he getting a bit antsy about waiting for Fleming to play the ball forward? I don't know, but 3 times offside, kind of weird. Defensively, so we've seen George Saville having the most tackles for any Millwall player. But like I said, if they're not coming at us, we can't really tackle them, can we? So that's to be expected. But look, Romain Esse, 8 minutes on the pitch, 1 tackle. Fantastic stuff. Who had the most interceptions? Fleming and Hutchison. Clearances? Murray Wallace, Billy Mitchell, Cooper. Block shots? No one blocked a shot because they didn't have to. We didn't have to block any of their shots. Let's finish with passing. So who had the most passes? Not really that many passes. 54. That's pretty low for us. I think the highest is normally around 60 or 70. So that's quite low for us. If you look at number 9, Bart Biakovsky, so he's had 20 passes and he's got 50% accuracy. It's interesting. So if we look down, so Callum Styles is 91.9, is off of 37. So that's not bad, that's pretty decent. Yeah, Billy Mitchell, suffering, I don't know, missing Saville, I don't know what's going on there. Down to 79 off 38. But interesting stuff. So crosses and accurate crosses. You've got Honeyman 8.5, Harry Wallace 5.3, Callum Styles 5.3, and then it drops off then. McNamara 3 and 0, so it probably explains his low score. In terms of long balls and accurate long balls, obviously Barbie Akuski with the most, 15 and 6, which is not bad for him. Hutch 12 and 7, Danny Mack 10 and 3, and it goes on and on and on, and I can't, because that's the end of the video. Thank you for watching, and goodbye.